in place. And if it's like a super tanky hero that's running at you, you've got Hammer of the Witches, which is also very good at like stopping suppression teams, etc. Like really flexible hero against that sort of stuff. Against ranged, like, I mean, in the end, I would say all the Imperial Guard heroes are are good against most things, but they need to be equipped with the right things, right?
Okay.
Like, really look to their war gears, because in their vanilla form, they're not that impressive.
Yeah. Okay then. Well, thank you, Codex. I think next Monday, we'll probably have a good look at war gear and look at situations of when to actually what war gear to get. But for now, we're gonna load up the next replay. Have you got that loaded yet? Or?
Is it Kisuke versus Retaliation?
That's the one.
I'll let you know when I'm loaded up.
Okay then. And we're going to be looking at Eldar versus Imperial Guards, and that's going to be a Commissar versus a Wart Spider Exarch. So, for you IG and Eldar players, definitely have a look at this. This will be really helpful.
Well,
for you learn how to deal
I'm
with
still
that.
loading.
Okay, no, do it.
First impressions before we even jump into the game, like Ashes of Typhon. Imperial Guard, like, they only have one detector, Catagens, right? And this makes webways, like, really, you should be trying to emphasize how strong webways are right now. Like, if he's only got one Catagen and the Catagen has to run around speed 5 on this massive map, it's really difficult to root out webways, especially if you use them in an intelligent way, right? If the Imperial Guard player doesn't know where webways are, which he really shouldn't, like, you shouldn't be using it in his phase. You should be trying to use it when he's around the corner, right? To give him the possibility of not hearing it through Fog of War, and to give him the possibility of thinking that you're just walking up the corner, right? And this is a chance engagement, but no, it's you manipulating a favorable situation. Okay. So I'm loaded, so I'm pause on 5 seconds.
Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so when you're ready, you turn off this music. And we'll get this game underway. So, 3, 2, 1, unpause. Okay, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, we've got a Wart Spider Exarch from Kisuke. Is that how you pronounce his name? Kisuke?
Kisuke? Well, that's how I say it.
Asian. Kisuke. And we have Retaliation. I was actually in this match when it happened, but I wasn't really paying attention. But Retaliation playing as the Commissar. And so let's have a look. What do you think about this matchup? We get to see a Sentinel coming out from Retaliation, which is going to be really good for pressurizing these double Guardians. And triple Guardians looks like from Kisuke.
Like, generally, as Eldar against Imperial Guard, I heavily favor rushing that Shuriken out early, because like Commissar Lord, when he doesn't have the flare up yet, and he's getting into the 2 sergeants straight off the bat. So 2 sergeants, that's another 170 wreck. You can see like he doesn't even have enough wreck to put down a power node here. So there's really nothing that's going to come soon to change the situation of a Shuriken dominating the battlefield. But you know, 2 Guardians, now he's got the same problem. He's got slow power, and he has to invest 45 power to make these Guardians really durable. And Guardians against Sergeants and Sentinel just lose straight up. Like they've got nothing, right? Or Spider's taking too much damage for no real reason.
Just hanging around, probably trying to pressure that Sentinel,
like,
but
in the end, sometimes it's favorable to damage a Sentinel down because it ties down the Guardsman to repairing Sentinels. But here, he's achieved nothing.
Nothing by doing that.
Absolutely nothing. Like, okay, this is something to consider. Commissar Lord, it's completely worth it for a while to just, when he's at full mana points, energy points, just to have his shield active all the time and just energy manage. So if you want to keep executing reserve, just turn it off when you're at 50 and turn it back on when he's recovered all his energy. There's no point not to have it on.
Stopping for a bit there. But that's a good point on energy conservation.
Like at the beginning of the games, I turn on the shield. There's nothing better for him to use that energy for, right? He's not going to be regenerating or losing regeneration.
Doesn't
Okay,
cost
so
anything. So,
big mistake from Retaliation, like putting down his
just
generators in front of these three guardians.
letting in
Kisuke should
basically
really focus fire
the
something. Like
yeah,
attacking the node with one guardian achieves little to
nothing.
nothing, and it actually, it's really slowed him down. If he had focused down that sentinel couldn't have just stood there and fought. Now it's completely okay to stand there and fight, right?
Yeah. So basically, by doing that, he's basically split the potential damage that he could have had, and maybe focused on the guardsman. What do you prefer when you're fighting against a sentinel and you've got your Space Marine player, so you've got tactical marines? Do you prefer to focus on the sentinel or the guardsman guarding it?
Depends. It genuinely depends because, like, in general, if the sentinel's at full health and you start attacking the guardsman, a good player really should, like, just kite off the targeted guardsman. Like, there's nothing forcing them to stay there. Okay, like that like Commissar Lord decap there is not worth it. Like he got carapace armor for the execute, right?
Yeah,
But now he has no
energy
energy,
to use it.
and he's got like, I mean, it only costs like I think 20 energy or 25 energy or something ridiculous like that. But still, like now he's really vulnerable. He can't. I mean, okay. I think he's just trying to get his money's worth for his carapace armor, but still, it's so unnecessary to just decap that. It would have been even more efficient to use a sentinel, right? Because that doesn't bleed. Um, but yeah, what was I saying?
Which one to focus
Like,
first?
yeah, okay, which one to focus first? So in general, what I like to do is I shoot the sentinel a little bit, so it commits some guardsmen to hang about the sentinel, so they can repair.
Yeah,
If the sentinel isn't damaged at all, they're not going to be repairing, and if I march my tacticals with flamers up, all he's going to do is just kite and ignore me completely. So if I attack the sentinel and then I attack the guardsmen start retreating. Then I focus fire the sentinel, so the sentinel tries to get out, and they get path blocked by their own guardsmen. And then I attack the guardsmen, and then I attack the sentinel. Like it's actually a very fine balance because it's subtle things in positioning. Okay, here he should definitely be focusing the sentinel,
yeah.
which was a completely fail stomp. But if he had focused it down with like the shuriken and the guardians, that sentinel would have died before the guardsmen were even here. But it doesn't matter. It's gone.
Sentinel kind of. So that's basically what you said about kind of unfortunate or poor micro at the lower
Yeah.
levels. Unfortunately, just like a normal player, well, a better player, for example, would have kept that alive and probably wouldn't have even missed the stomp. Maybe pulling. I think one of the mistakes that Retaliation made here was kind of leaving his guardsmen in range or in the kind of sights of the setup team rather than moving it up to
In my
help.
opinion, I think Retaliation has really hurt himself because, like, 1-on-1 is pretty difficult. Like, you don't just have to think about the fighting. You gotta think about map control. You gotta think about your retreat paths. There's a lot of things to worry about. And his build was 2 guardsmen, 1 sentinel, guardsman, heavy weapons team. And notice for that entire fight just now, his Commissar Lord was
Nowhere to be
doing
seen.
absolutely nothing. He was sitting to the left of this middle PowerPoint, just doing nothing. There's no point getting a lot of squads if you can't micro them, right? They just become like a drain on your upkeep and liabilities. Like,
Okay.
it's just not worth it. He would have been, he would like I've got no problem with the heavy weapons team build, but 3 guardsmen and heavy weapons team is a little bit overkill, considering that 3 guardsmen, all 3 are countered by the same unit, i.e. One
Guardian.
shuriken platform.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, maybe a mortal squad. Probably would have been a bit. That's a new unit, by the way, guys. A mortal. What's it called? Is it mortal squad? Is it called? Or
Sorry,
spotter?
which one?
The spotter guys.
Spotter. Yeah, the artillery spotter.
That's the one. The new unit added to elite, which basically gives extra sight range,
Well, okay,
disruption, and smoke.
You have a mortar strike which disrupts and does minor damage. You have an incendiary shell which does AoE damage, which builds up to significant anti-infantry damage.
Is that tier
And
2?
then you have a smoke shell which is dropped on enemy units to reduce their sight range, to almost nothing. So it's a malignant blindness effectively
Alright.
on that's in this very small AoE.
So is the incendiary shot, is that tier 2 or is that part of tier
And
1?
incendiary shells are tier 2,
Tier 2.
and with an upgrade. You need
And-
to buy an upgrade for that, I believe.
Okay. So we see a Wraith Lord out from Kisuke. How do you think now that Retaliation's seen that? What do you think he should be doing? What should be going through his mind at this moment?
Retaliation or Kisuke?
Retaliation.
He should really be trying to dance that around, like, for a little bit. Because if I were Kisuke here, I wouldn't even, like, dilly-dally. That Wraith Lord should be making a byline straight for the enemy power farm, right?
Right.
Like, I would just, like, as he is doing now, like, that's good play. And Retaliation, if he had been, like, dancing a little bit more, he could have been drawing this Wraith Lord down the left-hand path a little bit, and then going to the middle, and then back into the left-hand path, and just waste his time if he just splits up his army. Because, look, these guardsmen aren't doing anything better by being at home, right?
Right.
Like,
So it was a wasted retreat.
Engagement for 30 seconds, he could have had his last cannon up for this fight, right?
Yeah, and
Okay, I really want to stress what a risky charge this Kami Lord, like, yeah, he's needed to, like, turn on the shuriken, but where was the support?
Where's his support? Where's the rest of his army? His army's idle, and instead of going for a las cannon, he's gone for an auto cannon. I mean,
Okay, that's
not a good choice. Despite the fact that I personally I don't think that's a good choice.
I can see his
yeah,
idea. I think it's a bad choice because he needs the last cannon now.
yeah,
He's going for stormtroopers so he can get a melter and combine it with the autocannon, but I don't know. Like, okay, he has got carapace armor, right? He can put down a lot of AV damage using execute, but he's wasted his flare. This is something that I don't think is used.
yeah. The
because
flare.
he needs this flare for this fight that is coming up. The one that he is going to try to, like, snipe off this Wraith Lord, not drop his. Please don't drop your guardsman as a VP. That's ouch. Bye guardsman. Well, I guess he didn't need it anyway.
Wasn't making, but
Okay,
yeah, just like you said.
Don't definitely do not throw the melter that early. You immediately lose all your surprise advantage. If you know, there's no way you're ever killing that Wraith Lord as long as that Guardian weapon team is up. So you get behind that shuriken, you kill it with the stormtroopers, and then you march your army up, melter the Wraith Lord, get everything into position, execute everything, and start killing his Wraith Lord, right? The Wraith Lord isn't the first target because the Wraith Lord has 1200 vehicle HP. It's not going down in a jiffy, right? So you force off the shuriken, force off the War Spider Exarch, and then you gank the Wraith Lord because it's defenseless against a Power Fist, Melter Stormtroopers, and an autocannon, but didn't work out that way.
Yeah, exactly. He had a little grenade thrown there from.
Shuriken's in big trouble.
Needs to retreat now. Had a little grenade there from the weapons team and escaped 7 HP. And now here comes the Wraith Lord uncounted. We've got a Power Fist by Retaliation, but it's going to be actually going to be able to deal with this.
War Spider dropping in.
War Spider's jumping in. So what in this situation? Do you think he overextended his Wraith Lord? Do you think maybe sending it in the first place was probably a really bad idea? He should have just pulled back. He didn't really need to do anything. He'd done the damage. He wasn't supported, and now he's lost it. He's lost the advantage that he had.
Although this Kami Lord's going down.
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to get escape out of there.
Like, yeah, the thing is, if you've got a solid advantage, like a big advantage, like, you know, the resources are looking good, you wipe more squads, Kami Lord, like, I mean, okay, the Kami Lord wasn't down at the time, but, you know, like, everything's looking really decent. You don't need to take unnecessary risks like that.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you've got 3 Guardians and 3 times repair. There's just no reason to just drop it so easily, right? And I think this is a solid choice for Retaliation to get this Chimera. You know, better late than never. But I don't know. Like, Kisuke, I think the Warp Spider choice was a bit it's unnecessary. Just it's unnecessary. Like you don't like what role does this warp spiders fill? Like you've got the warp spider haywire grenade, and you've got anti-melee range teleporting DPS. Whereas retaliation's melee, it's only
Yeah.
got a commissar lord, right?
Yeah.
So
That
I mean,
flare again, really.
you know, the haywire grenade can have a really good impact against like this chimera. But if you got it for that, then why do you get warp spiders before he gets the vehicles? You want him to like not realize, oh, that's a good like here after that really great anti-grav grenade, he should have been like co comboing that with a plasma grenade. There's no reason not to be getting plasma grenades now. You've got an anti-grav grenade, right? What if he's got no follow-up? What's the point in spending so much power on the anti-grav grenade?
And
And this War Spider XR should be going down. Should have been going down. Like these are one of the cases where you really should be sending a Chimera chasing after infantry retreating, because Chimeras are faster, right?
and it escapes with 5 HP due to that fact that
You know, they've
he's
definitely died from fire on the move. You know.
yeah, these stormtroopers just sitting idle. That's something you guys have got to remember. Make sure that you're moving your squads.
Okay, I want to point out, like people always say, "Oh man, this squad was idle, this squad was idle." I really want to highlight, idleness does not necessarily mean that units are not moving. Idle means that units are not doing a job.
Right.
Okay, now if you are against an enemy which is highly mobile and able to pick off squads very easily that are isolated, you are going to have to blob a little bit more, and you're going to have to accept that it's impossible to keep all your units separate, like all over the map, and doing a job. As a result, you will inevitably have some units that are scared, like, you know, to put on scare quotes, idle. They're not visibly doing anything, but are doing a very good job in securing map control. You know, like for example, a plasma cannon that's sitting like on on top of a VP, right? I mean, it's doing a job. It's idle, but it's doing a job.
I see what you mean. Okay then. That's quite interesting actually, because I for myself actually always presumed that idle meant that units just weren't moving.
Yeah, I mean, that's a literal interpretation of it, and it's generally not good. But sometimes you really do have to play a bit passive and like sit on your advantage instead of like pressing the issue when there's no point. Because in general, what I say is you want to extend your advantage, but sometimes you're not even like well positioned to extend your advantage. So you get out, yeah, like here, like there was no reason for like retaliation to go that far into enemy territory. I mean, I know he's at the disadvantage here, and he wants to make a play, but he could have been a bit more like, I'm gonna play a bit passive, find out what you got, have a plan of attack to take out this fire prison. Like, look, the stormtroopers are too late to the fight. They haven't even got enough energy to use a melter. But if you thought about it, you would think, okay, I need the melters in the fight, taking out this fire prison before anything happens. If they're down, if the fire prison goes down, right, then suddenly he's got a chance. He's got a Chimera, he can move up, he can start killing stuff. But he got too hasty. He didn't get the information he required before he
moved in,
commenced operations, right?
Yeah.
And do you notice as well that Kisuke has no detection? That means Retaliation had completely a free hand to move in and scout the enemy position and figure out what to do. And that's what you really should be doing when you're at a disadvantage. You're not going to go into many situations where you're like, I'm gonna go in and charge, and you're gonna come out on top, right?
Right.
And like, it part of it comes from like, okay, that's a completely wasted flare. What does that accomplish? Just on that fire prison.
Yeah, I've just seen it.
But do you see what I mean? Like, about
He's basically
this one warp gate on the left-hand side is gonna hurt Retaliation endlessly. Like, no catechins, no detection. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, Retaliation again. He doesn't know what's going on. He just wants to kill this fire prison so badly, and he might. What's the Shuriken doing? Like, Kisuke could have that was completely avoidable, right? Because you had the shuriken right there. All you had to do was just shoot it. But
And he's kind of let himself down. I mean, he knows
no,
exactly as you know. He knows that he's got obviously infiltrated units. He should be a bit more maybe babysitting his tank vehicle, not overextending it, because obviously he does. Unless he's going to commit to getting rangers, he's not going to know where those stormtroopers are. He's always got to be constantly looking for them.
this is why I'm much more in favor of getting Wraith Guard or even D cannons against Imperial Guard. Look at how this is basically you're gonna have to charge up like into the breach sort of thing. You got a shuriken laying supporting fire and Wraith Guard and D cannon. Wraith Guard would be in front, D cannon would be behind in all likelihood. You know, because the D cannon has a longer range.
I mean, you all know how powerful D cannons are. If you guys caught the tournament, sniped what was it? Sniped a vehicle, didn't it?
Yeah, they're incredibly powerful. And obviously Singularity against 5, 6, soon to be 6 IP squads would be impossibly powerful. And you know, you probably know better than most that I absolutely rave about how awesome fire prisms are, and it's true. But they are better in 2v2 and 3v3, and I also usually only get them if I've already got rangers, because the rangers are there to secure them. Like the rangers, it adds security, but more importantly, it gives
range.
Yeah, the line of sight for the fire prism to shoot, because the fire prism has a longer range than its natural sight, and if you aren't using fire prisms at their maximum range, you're not using them right. I mean, no offense, but you've got such a powerful mobile fire platform. If it's taking any return fire at all, you're just not using it right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one good point actually is I've got a question for you, and probably loads of people probably benefit from this.
Why would you use the? What is Kisuke doing? So he ate the stormtrooper grenade, and he ate his own plasma grenade.
Oh goodness. Okay, pause it.
Pause.
What? Well, okay. From that, let's just take a little step back. Things have gone horribly wrong. He's got the advantage. He had the advantage, and a player's done something like that. What can he do? What can he do now? I mean, he's just naded his own units. Yeah, what can he do? And how can Retaliation push this advantage? Should he go for the generators? Should he try and hunt down these webway gates? So what can the players do?
It's pretty obvious from a third-person perspective what Retaliation should do. Like, this is something I said when I was casting with Rupee. Was that in the early game, power denial is best because, well, everything's power. Everybody's hungry for power, but I mean, like no joke on that statement, because that is that's true. But look, Kisuke now has 307 power. Right, he has enough power that he could buy an avatar and a fire prism.
Right.
There is no point denying generators right now. That is just a waste of time and energy. What he should be doing is denying the requisition and taking victory points to put pressure on your enemy. Or if he's thinking more long term, he can get rid of that thorn in his side webway gate, which looking again from the third person perspective at the compositions, I would be less concerned about that webway gate, because Kisuke doesn't have very many big threats that can jump out of a webway gate right now.
Yeah.
Right?
His force isn't very mobile at the moment.
Well, even if it was, like, he hasn't got Banshees, he hasn't got like Wraith Guard, he hasn't got like Seer Council. It's just 2 Guardians, Warp Spider, Dock Reaper. If you attack me, I retreat, right? Not a big deal. So, sure, you're gonna lose a bit of map control as a result, but for me, the biggest priorities would be denying these requisitions, because if you look at the resources, he's got 435 requisition and 307 power. That 307 power is pretty useless if he hasn't got any more requisition coming in. You know, like, that's how you deny your opponent their power in the late game. It's not giving them any requisition to spend with their power.
Right.
You bleed them hard, you take away their rec points, you sit on the VPs and you laugh at them, right?
So, I mean, for the best thing for Retaliation, if he actually looks and notices, is that at the moment Kisuke hasn't spent a lot of power. His forces, I mean, he's spent power on the fire prism that obviously went down, but he's had most of the map. He's had these generators that haven't been bashed, and his
At the same time, though, I would say that Retaliation has got the slight advantage right now.
yeah,
It's a very minor one, but he has got the slight advantage. Like Kasuke's composition, it doesn't scale too well. Like he's got
yeah.
really good levels now. He's got level 3 on his Guardian Weapon team, but it doesn't scale well. Like the War Spiders do do piercing damage, and that's not really going to help against Ogren Squad. Hello?
Oh no,
I
sorry,
lost.
I'm here. Sorry,
No,
I
no,
was just
no.
about to sneeze.
It just went quiet. So
Yeah,
I
I
just
had
thought
to
I might have
mute. I
lost you.
had to mute myself because I was about to sneeze. Sorry, go on.
I see.
Excuse me.
I mean, the Dark Reapers, like, they're not a terrible choice, but he got them before the Ogrens got there, and I think if he had spent them on the resources on something slightly more efficient, like an Avatar like or like a D cannon, he would have gotten much better results than he has with his Dark Reapers. The Dark Reapers are currently liabilities. So if I was in Kasuke's place, I would get Entangling Web to help against these Ogrens and line up a couple plasma grenades and use the Dark Reapers from range. And then from that point on, you can keep playing. But right now, his composition is weak, and he really needs to get like a T3 unit out.
Or something to kind of pressure these range squads.
Well, right now, look, all he's got Kasuke has got are ranged infantry squads.
Yeah.
They pretty much only can go that far in terms of scaling. You need like a powerful unit, something to back it up and be like the crux of your force. And that used to be the fire prison, but it wasn't well treated. So
And they ended up going down quite quickly. One of the questions I've got for you is how can a player, you said obviously you've got to deny power and resources, how can a player know when or which resource to deny? Does he have to go by judging the enemy's composition
it's
or
partly instinct. It's partly instinct.
instinct? Okay.
I mean, I've watched so many games now. I've played all the races to like quite a lot. Like, you know, none of them as much as Space Marines, obviously, but I've just played so many games with standard timings, and I kind of have a gut feeling like either there's heretic. For example, if I am against Chaos, it's like either a heretic aspiring champions are coming out next, or tier 2 is coming out next, and he's gonna go for a blood crusher because that's what makes sense. You know, like you have these sort of like this sort of branching thing in your head where you're like, okay, he could build this next or build this next. If I see this, then he's likely doing this, and if I see this, he's likely doing this. And this is why it's very important to scout out your opponent's generators as well, because your opponent's generator counts and the amount of bleed he does, like that, these are the sort of things that affect his power requisition balance. And like for example, if he builds like a T3 unit and he is and he's Eldar and he hasn't been bleeding very much, he is likely swimming in requisition. On the other hand, 15 later, he is likely going to be swimming in power, right? And you judge it based on like, oh yeah, when I played Eldar, like when he's straight into tier 3, he's never ever got any power. But like at the end of the game, everybody's swimming in like 800 power, right? Especially Eldar who genuinely are very power heavy and end up getting far too much by the end. Like it's just standard. Like 20 minutes in, Eldar building only infantry and not really very many vehicles, and you get pretty much a 1.25 to 1 ratio of power to wreck.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. So if we're going to unpause, I'm paused at 1951. What are you at?
I'm at exactly 20 minutes.
20. Okay, so let me say. So teleporting, what spiders, jumping around. Okay, so
Let me know when you're on 20.
okay, so I'm on 20. So 3, 2, 1, unpause. So we see a good grenade from Kisuke, kind of stunning this.
Horse spider's head.
But the water spiders end up going down due to that. But it did manage to kind of trap the Ogrens, but obviously caught one of his units in the process. Water spider was unable to jump out of that quick enough. And
Okay, so that actually that changes my evaluation even more now. Retaliation has got a strong advantage
yeah,
because right now you like when it gets to these sort of like large compositions, you need to have some kind of visualization of how the fight's gonna go. Okay, um, and that allows you to think like if I add A, what will that achieve? If I add B, what will that achieve? And you're really thinking like, what can Kisuke get to really change the situation? And the answer is nothing really, if I'm genuinely honest. Like, if he gets an avatar, Retaliation should, probably won't, but should just like kite it to Kingdom Come. Just throw a melter, back off, shoot it, back off, shoot it. Don't get hit, don't get hit.
yeah.
Avatar cannot cap, and Kisuke has lost yet another Dire Avenger, so he's down to one Dire Avenger and two Guardian Weapons teams. Wait, two?
Yeah, he's got two. I don't know where the second one came from, but
I, d- I think it must be bugged because
is that
both
two?
Guardian Weapons teams are showing level 3 for me, and he
Oh
didn't
yeah.
have
Oh
for
okay,
that
no,
long.
there you go. It's
Oh, it's Dark.
sorry, just decided to hide. I mean, here comes like you said, here comes the avatar. Um, but I mean, it's gonna be too like you said.
Look at this desperate War Spider going down. Such desperate capping, and yeah, this is GG.
At this point,
Okay, so what I really want to highlight is get a composition. Like, really get a composition that does a variety of jobs so you're ready for any single situation. These Ogrins came, Kisuke wasn't prepared. He doesn't use his shurikens to suppress them, and that's it. That was one engagement that the Ogrins just ruffle stomped everything and won.
yeah. It's unfortunate by Kisuke. I mean, it was John turned out to be a good match, but as you can see, guys, one mistake and just not thinking. You constantly have to be thinking. That's probably why certain players seem to be kind of put off by 1v1s because it requires a lot of attention, a lot of thinking, and a lot of you know. What would you say about 1v1? What is the key thing that you need to understand about this, other than obviously units, and is capping more important than
Okay,
understanding unit movement and things like that?
my belief is that like 1v1. I mean, all the different modes. They include like they basically share all the skill sets, but it emphasizes different skill sets. So map control, in its most basic understanding is just like, oh, I'm gonna cap a point. I'm gonna cap faster than you. I'm gonna cap more of the map, right? But it isn't as simple as that. For me, map control is about um, it's about information, it's about guessing, and it's about attention. Like if like for example, if you look at Tex's play with Knob, he uses booby traps all the time, and booby traps directly give him map control. Like literally directly does, because it denies your opponent map control by killing, harassing, and like forcing your opponent to be like, I'm gonna be wary about right clicking this point and what direction I'm gonna approach this point at. And he's spending more cognitive resources, more time thinking about how to cap rather than actually capping.
Ah, interesting.
On the other hand, like guessing, like and information, like say I know, like it's a very common motif. Like if you know when your opponent's like scouts are going, you just stick in your CSMs at that point. And who's going to win that capping battle? CSM. CSM just walk up, start capping the point. Scouts run away. Simple. On the other hand, if you have scouts and you send in the slugger, scouts just kite and just shoot the sluggers, and scouts are winning this in map control mini battle, right? And then this later influences map control because suddenly Space Marines have better map control because the sluggers got harassed a bit and have to retreat a little bit earlier, so they can't be capping. So I mean, these have like knock-on effects. So yeah, I mean,
It's just understanding different aspects of each mode and what it requires.
exactly. Like, in the end, there are multiple ways to cap, and in fact, like, I don't particularly use one or the other throughout a game. I'll like vary. Like, the way I favor is to like keep my force compact and able to support each other as much as possible, win a fight, and then split up and split cap.